for tuning in.
Compared to the golden days of PlayStation and PlayStation 2, when games like Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, Fatal Frame, and Clock Tower all shared the spotlight, traditional survival horror games have somehow fallen on life support. Hoping to remind audiences of its hair-raising history, Konami resurrects two acclaimed horror titles with the Silent Hill HD collection. The results will undoubtedly strike fear among dedicated fans, though not quite for the reasons you'd expect.
You're supposed to be the big man around here. How's a little girl like me supposed to help?
Ow!
While the games are part of the same Supernatural series, the stories for both Silent Hill 2 and 3 are unrelated. Silent Hill 2 tells the story of a man named James Sunderland in his search for his wife, Mary. There's a catch, of course. She's been dead for 3 years.
Didn't you say she died?
Oh yeah, 3 years ago.
After inexplicably receiving a letter from Mary asking him to meet her at a special place in the sleepy town known as Silent Hill, he decides to take the bait and travel there. After all, what could go wrong? The game begins in the grimiest, most disgusting-looking bathroom known to man, which makes one thing abundantly clear. James is going to see this thing through, no matter the cost.
Mary, could you really be in this town?
Silent Hill 3 follows the story of an exhausted-looking teenager named Heather, who tries to piece together her fragmented past while experiencing a series of flashbacks and nightmarish visions. Both Silent Hill 2 and 3 rely heavily on audio cues, crafty camera work, and nods to horror films to keep players on edge. While the stories are not entirely coherent in both games, that's sort of the point. You'll question what's real and what isn't, whether the protagonists are actually seeing what they're seeing, or if the desperate need for answers may be triggering some rather disturbing hallucinations. As you progress in both games, there are enough twists and turns to keep you gripping your controller.
I've never been so scared in my whole life.
It should come as no surprise that Silent Hill 2 and 3 rigidly adhere to the conventions of traditional survival horror. You'll slowly navigate your way through a series of dilapidated buildings in and around a largely deserted town populated by bloody, misshapen creatures and some truly oddball characters. Your first order of business is to find a map of an area or building and then carefully explore your surroundings, looking for the one door, gate, or drawer that you can interact with. Environments are restricted in terms of where you can and cannot go, coaxing you toward a specific path, whether you're in an apartment complex, hospital, mall, or an amusement park.
What a nightmare.
Advancing through both games generally requires finding the right keys to open the right doors, many of which are revealed after solving puzzles that typically involve arranging or collecting objects to complete a riddle. Both games also offer a limited amount of weapons and ammunition, requiring you to quickly decide when it's best to flee or fight. Silent Hill 3 features more frequent enemy encounters of the two games, and to survive, you'll have to conserve your ammo and think about an escape plan, as creatures are much more aggressive and have a tendency to swarm. You'll also discover save points as you progress and collect items like first aid kits or health drinks to heal yourself. The environments are vivid in terms of detail and atmosphere, but the biggest design problem is the wasted time you'll spend trying to interact with things that are either locked or aren't meant to be interacted with. Trying to open each and every door, window, or locker you come across is not particularly enjoyable. On a positive note, both games feature multiple endings to discover, enhancing their replay value.
I don't get it. What does she want me to remember?
Ow!
What's wrong?
I just pricked myself.
Since Silent Hill 2 and 3 follow the conventions of survival horror to a bloody T, you can expect some awkward moments with the control schemes. Both games rely on building tension, and this is partly achieved by restricting your movements and having you experience sudden camera changes designed to disorient and startle. Again, this is intentional. Movement by default has you spinning the protagonists around like a top until they're facing the right direction, then pushing the pad or analog stick in one direction to have them walk forward. Silent Hill 3 has a more diverse selection of weapons, but combat isn't particularly deep in either title, as the emphasis is on trying to make it through a scene rather than eliminating every threat you run across. You'll shoot or swing at an enemy once or twice, kick it when it's down, and move onward. You'll be able to detect enemies using a radio with the sound of static indicating their presence, and use a flashlight to illuminate darker areas. Weapons range from a wooden plank and steel pipe to a pistol and shotgun, and characters can turn 180 degrees, guard, and sidestep left and right to defend against enemy attacks. Yet the most useful control option is the run button, as neither character has the stamina and physical prowess to endure prolonged battles.
I just ran because I was scared.
The original versions of Silent Hill 2 and 3 were known for their stylistic use of film grain or noise in atmospheric lighting, not to mention murky, grimy environments that were filled with enough rot and rust that you'd consider getting a tetanus shot after playing. The developers have sharpened the character models and textures, but the lighting is completely off from the originals, which is a serious problem in a game that relies on its presentation for thrills and chills. Colors are now muted to the point where everything looks like an even shade of bland, as if someone dialed down the contrast button. The thick fog has been lifted to the point where you can see too much of the environment, taking away some of the claustrophobia and dread you're supposed to feel while walking around town.
Is this your only special place?
Other changes include all new voices for both games, with only Silent Hill 2 offering the original voices as an option. While the new voiceover's quality is a more lateral move than a step up from the original due to some awkward dialogue, the lip syncing is off by several seconds during cutscenes.
I'm sorry, I don't...
It's okay.
More troubling is the inconsistent frame rate for both titles, which takes a dip at times when characters start running or multiple enemies appear on the screen simultaneously. This was not a problem in the original versions, only these supposedly enhanced versions. Even the sound effects, which play an integral role in the suspense, are off or have been altered for no apparent reason. You'll still hear growling, clanging, scraping, moaning, whispering, and other unsettling sounds, keeping you largely at unease as you play the game, but the volumes are too loud in places and too soft in others. The radio, for example, now sounds like someone is fiddling with the knobs instead of emitting continuous static. It's a choice that was likely made to make players more uncomfortable, but it's more of a needless distraction.
Wait a minute. I'm kinda tired.
Taking into account the previously released high-def collections on PlayStation 3, including Konami's excellent Metal Gear Solid HD collection, Silent Hill HD comes off as a disappointment. Not for the specific titles included, mind you, but rather for the sloppy handling and questionable changes associated with the conversions. The inconsistent presentation, compromises to the original developer's vision, and lack of any interesting bonus features make this compilation's $40 price tag even more unnerving than its games.
No. Forget it. This is way too gross. Who would even think of doing something so disgusting?